Next chapter is 22. This chapter, my summary is brief, mainly because they introduce a couple of new characters who are from Tennessee. They speak English differently from Californians. So what I did was, I did more than my best to present the gist of their conversations and focus more on exactly what happened. So Ramona suggested to Alessandro that they go to Los Angeles. There's work there. Alessandro disagreed. White people control that city now, and if they pay with money, they only pay half what they give the Mexicans. More likely, they would give Indians stuff that they don't want, such as spoiled wine. Once an Indian complained and died from a shotgun for talking back. So instead, Alessandro decided to go to San Jacinto instead. By the time they were almost there, they were caught in a snowstorm. It was in the middle of winter. Luckily, a white man saw them, offered them shelter from the cold. Fortunately, Ramona's baby was still alive because Ramona kept the baby close to her bosom during the entire journey and covered the baby. It was also lucky that Ramona and her daughter had blue eyes. They would not have taken the Mexican. With their limited English, they explained that they were Indians. It was difficult to understand them because they spoke English with a Tennessee dialect. They were members of the Higher family, God-fearing, good Christian men and women. Alessandro and Ramona spent a few days with the family. The Higher family's child was ill and needed a warm place to convalesce, so they headed out west. They were part of the poor white people. Even though they were taught that Catholics are the wrong people to associate with, they got along. After the snowstorm ended, they continued on to a nearby Indian village, Saboda. There was one small adobe house that was vacant. The widow went to live with her daughter and family, so they were paying rent, essentially. With Alessandro's hunting skills, they were able to make it their home. He used deer skin to line the floor and their bed. There was even a small Madonna statue in the room. In this little house, they had a meal with the Higher family. Ramona cooked Mexican food since that's what she learned at Senora Moreno's rancho. Together, they ate stewed venison artichokes as well as frijoles with chili. Alessandro lost some of his gloom when he earned some money. This village was in a better situation. There was a large valley. The stock was free range. The Ravallo brothers were still living in their estate, so there was some protection from the land commission, and Ramona even made some new friends. 3 to 6 months later, it was time for the Hires to leave. Their child was doing much better, and it was time for them to move on. When Ramona told Mrs. Hire about what the land commission did to the Indians, Mrs. Hire was upset, and she was determined to learn more. She hated the injustice that was done to Ramona and her people. Around this time, Ramona's baby took ill. Alessandro was suspicious of any white people, including doctors. He didn't understand why they had to write their names down on a piece of paper. He was also suspicious of their medicine, which supposedly helps white people, but there wasn't any evidence of how Indians would react to it. However, his hands were tied. His baby is really sick, and they can't just stand around and let their baby die. So, questions, comments, constructive criticisms, ask for clarification, let me know. And yeah, I would recommend actually read this chapter, see if you can make out, the Tennessee dialect and exactly what they were saying word for word. But yeah, I hope I did it justice with this summary, with this brief summary, and I shall see you tomorrow. Take care.